was that we approve the agenda as, or amend said agenda. I'm going to ask for the board to take action on that. And I would ask that you consider in your motion adding to the agenda number 10, commissioner comments. That was not on our agenda and usually is.
I'll make that motion that we amend the agenda and add a commissioner comment.
Okay.
Support.
There's motion made and supported that the agenda be approved as submitted with the one change of adding commissioner comments as an item to number 10. Is there any discussion on the motion? On favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move then to public comments. If anybody wishes to speak during public comments, this is your opportunity. Public comments is now. One more time for public comments. Public comments are closed. We move to new business. We have an unusually long agenda for our organizational meeting today. There's several items of business that needed to be attended to, and we are going to do it. So the first is a resolution to dissolve the Board of Health and their bylaws. This is regarding the Health Department. Was for consideration and vote is to eliminate the board, and it would operationally make the Health Department more like any other department of the county, with a department head and work just like any other department. And that is item A.
I would make the motion to dissolve the Board of Health and bylaws.
I'll support.
There's a motion made and supported to dissolve the Board of Health and bylaws. And is there any discussion on the motion? Commissioner McLean. I'm sorry. Whichever.
I'll go first.
I thought I saw your hand up.
Okay. Issues at the health department are issues at the health department, and they've been going on for a long time. I could maybe save this for the commissioner comments at the end, but the one thing that, when I saw this all, the way it came about, and we had discussions, I have a problem with possible precedent being set that changes as significant as this are made by the chairman, the administrator, and the assistant administrator. I really believe that when we get into the serious, these comments or these decisions, that it should have been taken up at a workshop of the entire board, and whoever was interested should have showed up. Not that I argue against the reasoning of this and the soundness of this move, but I just had a problem that the decision was made by 3 people and there was only 1 commissioner involved, and the other commissioners, I think, should have been involved in that, if for nothing more than a discussion. Like I said, not a formal committee meeting or anything, but I think it should have been handled in a workshop. And
Okay.
I'd suggest that we keep that in mind when we move forward with decisions of this magnitude.
Anyone else?
I do.
Commissioner Savoy.
I kind of disagree with Commissioner McLean. I spoke as a citizen about the health department in the November board meeting in public comment. And my comment then was that they developed an addiction to the county general fund, and they're not the revenue source. However, they're a very important service to the community. If we have money, we should help them. This year, I think it was proposed just under $500,000 go to them. That's a lot of money, and if we continue down that path, we will not be able to provide services. Other departments, the sheriff's department, the county clerk, the treasurer, everyone's going to suffer. Since then, it's just recently discovered that that's just a drop in the bucket to their financial problems. And it's gone undetected for the last year or two until just in the last month. The board didn't catch it, the administration didn't catch it. I don't want to point fingers or blame anyone, that's not my intent. My intent is we have to get a financial handle on the situation and move forward. government, the better. And here we have an opportunity to eliminate a whole layer of government. And in doing so, we can save $20,000 or $25,000 that we're paying the health board for diem and mileage. We can have a direct accountability, better line of communication, and hopefully provide more services with the money that we save.
Okay, anyone else? Commissioner Martin?
I will concur with Commissioner McLean. This is a slippery slope. However, I believe in this case, this is a seven-figure hole that they put us into. And they said they didn't like being treated like a stepchild or like they didn't belong in the county. And this is one of those, ironically enough, in the Christmas season, watch what you wish for. So they will be in our family. And we're on the hook for the money anyhow. So as long as we're on the hook, then we should be far more involved in the decisions. But Commissioner McLean is exactly correct that this could have probably been done better. But I look at all that red, and we got to stop the bleeding, and we got to stop it now. And this wasn't something that we could kick down the road even for another month. This had to happen. We have a very good administrative staff and treasurer that can go through and tell us how we can save money. And as Commissioner Savoy said, we're going to save right off the top $20,000. However, we're talking 20,000 versus seven figures. that is truly a drop in the bucket. And I still think even moving this fast, every department in the county is going to suffer because this is too big of a hole to not share the burden. There's no way the health department can survive the way they're going, and we're going to have to lean them up. And unfortunately, other departments are going to have to pay for whatever's been going on there. I haven't been on the commission long enough to even begin to point fingers, but it had to be done. But I do agree. Both of you have very valid points, and this is just the way it came about.
Anyone else? Okay. I just point out that I felt there was a lot of informal conversation over the last couple months that brought this onto the agenda. And certainly, as with all things, you always have an opportunity to debate it now and to vote on it. But certainly I'll keep your concerns in mind as we move forward as well to make sure that it's addressed. So we do have the resolution in front of us. There is a motion. We've had discussion. As with all resolutions, it needs to be voted on as a roll call. So would the clerk please call the roll call?
Commissioner Egan. Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Savoy.
Aye.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes, aye. So it is approved. Now, there are several items from the health department that they need action on. Most of this is just things that need to be approved on an annual basis. And for instance, they have their organizational chart, their mission statement. I believe by law, these things need to be approved annually, and we're now the body that would do that. And there's a couple of other items that should have been dealt with at their December meeting, but their board did not have a quorum. So they didn't have enough people to actually have a legitimate vote on a couple of items. So we're going to deal with those items now. The first being the pardon me, the Health Department Annual Policy Review. That is on page 3. And again, I don't think there's any substantial changes. It's just a matter of requiring an annual approval.
I'll move that portion.
Okay.
Support?
Motion made and supported that we approve the Health Department's Annual Policy Review. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Similar situation is the next item C with the Health Department Mission Statement Review. That is on page 28.
Portion C, the review of mission statement.
Support.
Motion is made and supported that we approve the Health Department's mission statement. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. The next item is the County Health Department organizational chart. That is on page 29, and we need to approve that as well.
So moved.
Support.
Motion made and supported that the organizational chart be approved. Is there discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I would just like to point out to the commission that all this is approved once a year. As county administration gets more focused on some of the things that are happening at the health department, we may be bringing this back before you in 6 months.
And can be brought back at any time for amendment or updating. But thank you. Anything else? All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. The next item is a request. The there's property on Radar Road that had a septic tank catastrophic failure, is probably the best way to put it. It was a mess. The health department went out and had direct costs and did have staff costs in addressing and making the site safe and secure. The Central Savings Bank holds a mortgage on that property, and the owner is looking to sell it. The bank has requested that we reduce the staff fee, and I had personally spoke with Ron Meister from the Central Savings Bank, and they are comfortable with us reducing the staff fee by 50%. So that's not the $8,000, it's half of the $8,000, okay? So we would reduce it by that. He's assured me that the transfer is going to a responsible property owner that is going to look to improve the property, and that we would, and I suggested that we would do this contingent on the property changing hands within 90 days, and that all property taxes are paid upon closing. And he was amenable to all those things. So, so that would suggest a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Support?
Motion made and supported. Is there any discussion? Commissioner McLean.
You know, I have a bit of a problem with it, and we're forgiving that much. The health department went out and cleaned it up. This is the kind of thing that, on a good day, the property owner and the bank were willing to take the profits from that property, or to make the money from it. On the bad days, when the septic tank goes bad and there's a big bill relative to that, all of a sudden they want us to forgive the labor that and the money that the health department put out and various other groups put out relative to the expense. So I guess this is, to me, is another slippery slope, and I just have a problem with that.
Understood. Yeah, and if I may, the way it was explained to me, and I know Ron Meister had talked to Kelly and the health department prior to talking to me about it, is that that based on the amount that is owed and the sale and everything else, that the bank was teeter-tottering on whether they should, I believe, foreclose on it or go ahead and let the sale go. And they said just that they're really down to small dollars that would make a difference, and that this would be of assistance. So I agree with you. I think the health department has legitimately accrued that expense, and it should probably be paid. But I think in the interest, the big picture of this, helping to get this property go to a responsible property owner, and having all the taxes paid now, that's why I was in favor of it.
I guess then, put on my other hat as economic development committee member, that if we are moving in the right direction, and you said the stipulations were that it's going to a responsible property owner within 90 days, and that they're going to improve the property, then I guess that's a plus, and part makes it more acceptable.
Yeah.
I'd actually put in my notes that I have a real issue with this, that we bite the bullet on all of it. But I put in my notes here 50-50, what about a 50-50 split? It sounds like
That's what we
exactly
did.
what happened.
Yep.
Because I think the burden, if we get back on the rolls, they improve it, it increases in value, we collect more,
think it's of no value sitting there idle, and with the lien on it, we're collecting the majority of the contractors all getting paid. It's just some of the labor with the health department, we're splitting it. So it's in everyone's best interest to get it back on the tax rolls and put property in production, part of the community.
I think so too. Okay, so I think we've had the motion and we've discussed it. All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. The motion carries. We move to more items regarding the Board of Health. They had these are basically, I think these other are some items that were on the December agenda. One was to approve the December claims and accounts. This is similar to what we do every month for the county. Basically, you're paying off your bills and paying your employees, and they need an approval of that. And that is item F1.
I'll make a motion that we approve the health department's December claims and accounts.
Support.
Motion is made to approve the December claims and accounts for Board of Health. Is there discussion?
I have
Commissioner Martin.
one question I was going through here. One, AP, what's the AP mean, AP open? Item report.
AP, accounts payable?
Accounts payable, okay, thank you. And the other question was on page 39, $1,350 for brake job?
$13.50, oh yeah. I just got brake job done, yeah. If it's all, that would be all four. That would be all four all the way around,
It was
but,
$450 last time I got mine done.
yeah.
Wait till you see the prices on the 911 vehicle.
Thanks, Administrator.
Any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. The next item is hospice self-pay referrals. They were asking us if, what sort of direction we'd like to give them. And we really, I think you would agree, we really don't have the information to proceed with this. And I would really suggest that we just table this and not take action on it.
I'd table that portion on the hospice self-pay referrals. Move to table.
Support.
Okay, motion made and supported to table the item F2, which is hospice self-pay referrals. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. The next is approve the write-off of personal health accounts, $2,569.67. That's on page 34. Is that, Administrator German, is that one that we are taking action on?
I believe that because it's the end of the year, and it didn't go before the board, that we're supposed to take action on it. Is that correct, Ellen?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so approve the write-off of personal health accounts, it's $2,500. And we do need a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we approve the write-off of personal health accounts, $2,569.67. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Approve the non-waiver for travel vaccine fee as requested. And I do not know what this item is.
It's on page 34.
Do you know,
Chair,
Commissioner Martin?
Yes, I believe if I read it correctly, an employee wants the education waiver for vaccinations and was going to Central America. And if we would approve this for anybody else in the county, then I would be in favor of it. Say, well, because you're an employee, we're gonna waive this fee. I take issue with that.
Mhm.
As Commissioner McLean said, we're already.
Yeah.
That's as I read, if I read it correctly, that's.
Well, let me go ahead and read it. It says, a staff member who provides the travel vaccine has requested to waive the travel vaccine education fee for her son who will be traveling to Guatemala. The Board of Health does not believe CCHD is in a position to waive fees. The only services currently given to staff without charge beyond what their insurances will pay are hepatitis A, hepatitis B, TB, and influenza. So that's the way it was in their minutes. Is there any further discussion or any motions? Do we, we have three options here. We can approve it, we can disapprove it, or we can just not take action on it. I would suggest we take action one way or another. Otherwise, you're not giving the department the direction they're requesting.
Need a motion to even be discussing it correctly?
Well,
sort of.
informally, we're already discussing it, but we will discuss the motion specifically if there's a motion made.
I guess I would move that, so that we can make an official decision.
I'll support.
Okay, so there's a motion made to support the request for that waiver, and now we can discuss the motion specifically. And I just wanted, I'm not arguing for it, but I do want to just clarify that it's, the staff member is just requesting that the education fee be waived, and presumably the staff member provides the education, and she's saying, I can do it for my son for nothing? Is that, why should I have to pay to give the education fee to my son, I guess, is what the request is. Okay, but I just wanted to clarify what we're talking about. So, okay, so we do have a motion on the floor. Do you want to discuss it any further? How much is this education fee? Go ahead.
$75.
$75, okay. Anybody want to discuss any further?
For $75, I just feel uncomfortable about approving. I mean, they've got a list of things that they already do. But then you say, what a parent educating their son, it's just a real odd situation.
Yeah, well, that's why it's before us, I guess.
But I guess, if we do this, then that adds another thing to the issues that are, they don't pay for
Right.
services.
Anyone else?
It sets an interesting precedent that we would waive this fee. Yes, it doesn't cost us anything to waive it, but at the same time, it sets a slippery slope.
It's sort of giving special treatment to somebody because they're a child of a health department employee, and that, I have to agree, is a questionable precedent to be setting, yeah.
It's favoritism, and
Yeah.
if we allow it, if we don't give someone that lives in Rayburn or Paradise that same opportunity, then it's fine.
Right. All right, shall we vote? All in favor, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. And the vote is unanimous nay. We move to Chippewa County Recycling Committee for Chippewa County bylaws. This is a case where I had identified that the current membership on the recycling committee had called for 3 commissioners, right? Is it 3 commissioners? 3 commissioners, which is a quorum. And surely that was done back when this board had 7 commissioners on it. We now have 5 commissioners, and we need, I think it makes sense to reduce the number of commissioners on that committee. I had asked them at the time just to simplify it and make it the chairman and the administrator. I would ask you today to make a slight change to that and make it the chairman's appointee, and frankly, because Commissioner Martin has expressed interest in staying on that board, so I would like to have the ability to appoint him to that board. So if you would make it the chairman's appointee and the administrator, we will still have 1 commissioner going to the board. We'll have the administrator involved with the board, and I think we'll have good representation without the requiring a quorum of our board to be in attendance there, which, by the way, causes some legal hurdles too when you have a quorum of our county board officially in attendance at another board. So that's why I got it. Commissioner Martin?
I don't know if I'm out of order here or not, but the bylaws as written still allows for you to be on there and appoint up to 4 members of the commission, which of course we said we don't want to do because we don't want a quorum. And this was done when there were 7. So I don't know that we even need to change this. I mean, what you instead of chairman's appointee, you can still be on it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna,
No, and it's gonna be hard for me to try to read this right now and go through this and
no, it's
understand.
actually the first sentence, the very first sentence. Committee shall consist of not less than 7, no more than 11 persons who shall be appointed as follows, up to 4 members representing Chippewa County Board of Commissioners.
Okay, is that as amended though?
Yes.
That would be, that
Yeah,
would include the
that's-
amendment?
This is the amended copy.
Okay,
Yourself or myself, but if you choose to put it.
Okay.
Yeah.
in that case, I guess I would ask that you, support, approve it as amended, and with the understanding that when we get to, committee appointments, I would be appointing, Commissioner Martin under his request to be on that board because he's interested in serving on it.
I'll move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we approve that change. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Excuse me.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
I wanna go on record and, we're videotaped, so this stuff is back when, but I wanted it understood that there will be a commissioner on that, because it says chairman appointment, so the chairman could appoint somebody other than the commissioner, but I think it's important that at least one commissioner be on that. So
And I-
that appointment will be a commissioner.
Well, I think that the way it's amended, it includes the chairperson of the board, so there'll be
Yeah.
at least, the chairperson's obviously a commissioner.
Well-
So there's always going to be at least one by definition.
If we leave it alone, which is, I think, what my motion was, what the motion was, I mean, we could actually have all 4 of us on there if the chair, but he's already said he wants to avoid that because impropriety of having a quorum at another board meeting. This just,
The pr-
if we leave this alone, your concern is taken care of.
Well, if you approve it as presented, that's fine. But if you don't change it, then you're not making any changes because it included language of one who's the chairperson of the Finance Claims and Account, one who is the chairperson for Legislative and Natural Resource Committee, one who is the chairman. So there you go, it's
Yeah.
specifying 3
Yeah,
commissioners.
those are all lined out.
Right, okay, so if we just approve it
Amended.
as amended, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then we're on the same page.
Yeah, I was just trying to take care of Commissioner McLean's concern about making sure that there's a
Okay.
commissioner on
Got it.
there as amended, that is the case.
Got it, thank you. All right, all in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to the item H, which is to dissolve the OES committee. For background on this, similar to the recycling committee, the OES committee required in the past 3 committee members, board members. The OES and 911, which is also called Central Dispatch, meet at the same time. They have one meeting, then they adjourn, and then they have the next meeting, but it's always the same time, same place. And I had asked Kelly to check with our department head out at 911 and OES about reducing the number of members on that. She came back with a recommendation that you just dissolve that we don't need it. Lots of other counties don't have it. And Kelly has assured me that operationally, it's not gonna change anything, and we will continue to have 911. So the 911 committee will continue to exist, but the OES, we won't. And if you have any questions, I would, at this meeting today, invite you that you ask Kelly or ask Missy, and we can give you any answers that you want on that.
I would move that we dissolve the OES committee.
Motion made and supported. Is there any questions or comments?
I serve presently as chairman of the OES 911 committee, and my concern was when I saw this come across, and I expressed it to the board members and to you, Scott, that what happens to the 911 committee, and the 911 committee will continue.
Oh, yes.
But the membership on that is less. And I don't see any real issue because we, as you mentioned, we conduct the meeting, and we don't even adjourn from one to the other. We just say, okay, that was OES, we're moving now to 911. The point I want to make here is that this has all been brought about by a decision that was made a couple of years ago when we that's been a real problem ever since, getting quorums at meetings. It's the first time since I've been on the board when we've had to move meetings. Now, I was sick, I was causing part of it, but other people couldn't be here, and so we had to move meeting dates. I'd never seen that happen before. The other thing is that, this is fine, but again, when we had more members on there, there was more discussion, and more people knew what was going on, and it was a check and balance. People could say, no, that wasn't the way it was handled. So, this issue of moving from 7 to 5, I fought at the time, but it was out of our control. The decision was made by the former clerk and the former prosecutor. They've since left us, and other people, and the head of the Democratic Party and the head of the Republican Party. And, you know, it sounded fine at the time, but we're struggling right now. You know, I mean, we're waiting on people to make sure that we can have a meeting. And, that decision, I hope I'm on the board long enough to get to 2020, and that the census and the opportunity to change it back to 7, somebody said we'd go to 9, I wouldn't ever wanna go to 9 because there's enough bickering goes on here. But with 5, you get this 3, you know, you get 3 people together and they can push things through. Getting four people together is a little more difficult. And I think it would be better for a number of reasons. To go back to 7, unfortunately, we can't do it until the census comes up again, and then it goes through a process. But I just wanted to mention that a lot of these decisions we're making today on cutting boards and so on and so forth were brought about by the decision to go from 7 commissioners to 5. And I think it's creating problems.
Thank you. Again, the motion on the floor is regarding the OES committee.
I'd like to
Commissioner
just
Sabah.
add that I think, again, less is better. This is just a layer of waste in county government that we don't need. And by eliminating it, it makes us more efficient. And I'm assuming we would pay per diem and mileage for attendance there. We can save that money.
Anyone else? All in favor, vote aye. Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Oh, wait, this is a resolution, isn't it? Was it? Yeah, so we need a roll call vote on this.
Commissioner Egan.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye?
Commissioner McLean.
Yes.
Commissioner Savoy.
Yes.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Yes. Okay, so that's approved. All right, now we are moving to appointments to various boards, committees, and agencies. And let's get ourselves organized on that. If you move to page 80, it appears to be where we start with our tally sheets. Page 80 is the first one, and it's the Chippewa County Building Authority. And there are 2 appointments that are needed. Our current members are James Trainer and Nicholas Hike. Our applications are here from Earl Kay, Clayton McGahee, Ronald Meister, and Jim Trainer. We usually do this as a round robin based on those that have turned in their applications. So in other words, you don't do a nomination. They've already been nominated through the application process. Commissioner Savoy?
Chairman, you indicated there's 2 appointments, but the paperwork says 3.
What is the case? It says 2 on the,
On page 80.
yeah, page 80 it says.
Page 80?
Billing authority, 2 or 3? 2, all right, we got 2. So we're gonna proceed, and I'm gonna ask the clerk to take roll call votes on these. She will call the commissioner's name, and you cast a vote for one of the 4. We will fill the first 1 position, and then we will proceed and fill the 2nd position. What we will do is if there are votes for more than 2 people, we will do, and 1 person does not have a majority, we will eliminate low vote getters and stay with the 2 high vote getters as we go around. Okay, so if the clerk would please start a roll call vote for Chippewa County Building Authority appointment.
Commissioner Egan.
James Trainer.
Commissioner Martin.
James Trainer?
Commissioner McLean.
James Trainer.
Commissioner Savoy.
James Trainer.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Well, I'll make it unanimous for Mr. Trainer. And then we have a second position that needs to be filled. And I don't want to rush you. I know you're trying to keep track of all these things. And they're going to pile up. So do what you got to do. And when you're ready, call a second round.
Commissioner Egan.
Clayton McGahee.
Commissioner Martin.
Earl K?
Commissioner McLean.
Earl K.
Commissioner Savoy.
Earl K.
And Chairman Shackleton.
I'm going to vote for Clayton McGahee, but I believe Mr. K got 3 votes, correct?
Correct.
So he is appointed. We move next to the Building Code of Appeals. There are 3 I'm sorry?
That's the one.
Oh, okay. There are 3 appointments needed. Current members are Kathy Carnes, Joan Marie Rooney, and Sam White. We have 3 applications, so I think if anybody is of mind that would like to, you could just ask for a unanimous ballot that the 3 appointments fill the 3 positions, or
I'd move that
the
we,
3 applications, rather.
I'd move that we cast unanimous ballot for the Building Code of Appeals with the 3 appointments provided.
Support.
Okay, there's a motion made to approve the 3 applicants, Kathy Carnes, Clayton McGahee, and Samuel White, for the Building Code of Appeals. Is there discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. So congratulations there, and thank you to everybody who applies for these positions. That is a great service to our community. The next is the Department of Health and Human Services. There is 1 appointment needed, and the current member is John Kibble. And there's also applications from Peggy Starr and Kevin White. So when you're ready, clerk, please call a roll call vote.
Commissioner Egan.
John Kibble.
Commissioner Martin.
John Kibble?
Commissioner McLean.
Kevin White.
Commissioner Savoy.
John Kibble.
And Chairman Shackleton.
And I'll also vote for John Kibble, who is reappointed. We move to Department of Veterans Affairs. We have 1 appointment needed. The current member is Nicholas Hike. We also have applications from Don Cooper and Travis Rondo. I hope I pronounced Rondo correctly. Would the clerk take a roll call vote when you're ready?
Commissioner Egan.
Nicholas Hike.
Commissioner Martin.
Nicholas Height?
Commissioner McLean.
Nicholas Hike.
Commissioner Savoy.
Don Cooper.
And Chairman Shackleton.
Don Cooper. But Nicholas Hike is reelected with 3 votes. So thank you, Mr. Hike, for your service. We move to the Economic Development Corporation. There is 1 appointment needed, and the current member is Richard Brawley. We also have applications from, including Richard Brawley, Bradley Ormsby, James Raphael, and Kevin White. And when the clerk's ready, call a vote.
Commissioner Egan.
Richard Brawley.
Commissioner Martin.
Richard Brawley?
Commissioner McLean.
Richard Brawley.
Commissioner Savoy.
Richard Brawley.
And Chairman Shackleton.
I'll make it unanimous for Mr. Brawley. We move to 911. We have 1 appointment needed. The current member is George Kinsella. And we also have applications from Mr. Kinsella and James Trainer, Earl K., and Norman John. And when the clerk's ready, call a vote.
Commissioner Egan.
George Kinsella.
Commissioner Martin.
Earl K?
Commissioner McLean,
George Kinsella.
Commissioner Savoy,
Jim Trainer.
and Chairman Shackleton.
This is a tough one. I'm gonna vote for Earl K this time. So we have a tie between Earl K and George Kinsella. Sometimes I wish I could say something other than the vote. I'll just say they're both good people. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and spit that out. But we have to run off between Earl K and George Kinsella. Would the clerk please call the vote there?
Commissioner Egan,
George Kinsella.
Commissioner Martin,
Okay.
Commissioner McLean,
George Kinsella.
Commissioner Savoy,
Earl K.
and Chairman Shackleton.
I'll vote for Earl then, so that gives Earl 4 votes, actually. So, and I know George is in the audience. George, thank you for your service on that board. Hiawatha Behavioral Health, we have 1 appointment, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a typo here that says 2 at the top. It should only be 1. So our current member is Kathy Carnes. We also have Ron Meister, Jim Moore, and Robin Savoy, who have turned in applications in addition to Kathy Carnes. So would the clerk take a vote when you're ready?
Commissioner Egan,
Kathy Carnes.
Commissioner Martin,
Ron Meister.
Commissioner McLean,
Jim Moore.
Commissioner Savoy,
Jim Moore.
and Chairman Shackleton.
I'm going to vote for Mr. Meister. So we have a tie between Ron Meister and Jim Moore. So we'll need to vote on those 2.
Commissioner Egan,
Ron Meister.
Commissioner Martin,
Ron Meister.
Commissioner McLean,
Jim Moore.
Commissioner Savoy,
Jim Moore.
and Chairman Shackleton.
And I'll vote for Ron Meister again. And Mr. Meister is on the board. And we move to Jury Commission. 1 appointment needed. We have Margene Rowe, who is the current member. Margene Rowe apparently turned in her application for reappointment, but it was submitted late. There was also a application turned in by Sandra Rink and Norman John. Now, the board has the ability to waive its rules, and in effect, we've already done that because we accepted that application with the other applications at our last meeting. However, it is entirely, of course, up to you if that plays into your voting consideration on the fact that Margene Rowe's application was turned in late. And with that, I call for a vote.
Commissioner Egan,
Norman Young.
Commissioner Martin,
Norman Young.
Commissioner McLean,
Sandra Rink.
Commissioner Savoy,
Margene Rowe.
and Chairman Shackleton.
I'm going to vote for Margene Rowe as well. So we have 2 votes each for Norman John and Margene Rowe. So we need to vote on that again, please, to break a tie.
Commissioner Egan,
Norman Young.
Commissioner Martin,
Norman Young.
Commissioner McLean,
Margene Rowe.
Commissioner Savoy,
Margene Rowe.
and Chairman Shackleton.
And I'll vote for Margene Rowe, so she is reappointed. The Road Commission needs an appointment, 1 appointment, and the current member is Richard Timmer. In addition to Mr. Timmer, we have applications from Anthony Stackpool and James Trainer. And when you're ready, please vote, take a vote on that.
Commissioner Egan,
Richard Timmer.
Commissioner Martin,
Richard Timmer.
Commissioner McLean,
Richard Timmer.
Commissioner Savoy,
Richard Timmer.
and Chairman Shackleton.
I'll make it unanimous for Mr. Timmer. Thank you for your service there. The next one is the Substance Abuse Disorder Policy Board. We have one appointment needed, and Jim Moore is the current member, and he is the only applicant. We can either call for a vote, or you can call for a unanimous ballot.
I call for unanimous ballot.
I'll support.
A unanimous ballot is the motion made for Mr. Moore to be reappointed to the Substance Abuse Disorder Policy Board. Would all in favor vote aye?
Aye.
If you're opposed, vote nay. That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Superior District Library Board needs one appointment. The current member is Karen McClenny. In addition to her, we have applications from Nancy Birkenpass and Sandra Rink. And when you're ready, call a vote on that.
Commissioner Egan.
Sandra Rink.
Commissioner Martin.
Karen McClenny?
Commissioner McLean.
Karen McClenny.
Commissioner Savoy.
Nancy Birkenpass.
And Chairman Shackleton.
I will vote for Karen McClenny, so that reappoints her to the board. Our next appointment is to the Eastern Upper Peninsula Transportation Authority. We have a current member of Ted Pastula. In addition to his, we have Connor Egan, whose application did come in late, and similar to my last comment, it's up to you. He is eligible for vote. It's up to you whether you take that as a consideration or not, that the application came in late. Nicholas Hike also has an application in, as well as George Kinsella, Clayton McGahee, Bradley Ormsby, and Ted Pastula, who is the incumbent member. Will the clerk please take a
Mr.
vote?
Chairman?
Yes.
Just a comment. In the past, we've had a commissioner appointed to that. And I went back and looked at the minutes or the tapes of the various appointments when we made them. And back in 2010, when Ted Pastula was appointed, he was appointed on the basis that we needed a commissioner on that board because it was significant. And I've sent an email out to each of you to say if you wanted to check that. There were a couple of precedents set there, but it was mentioned by yourself that it would be a good board to maintain a commissioner on. So I just want to mention that up front as we go through this.
Thank you. Would the clerk like to take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Egan.
Connor Egan.
Commissioner Martin.
George Kinsella.
Commissioner McLean.
Connor Egan.
Commissioner Savoy.
Ted Pastula.
And Chairman Shackleton.
I will also vote for Mr. Pastula. So, do I have that right, that that's 2 and 2 then for Mr. Pastula and Mr. Egan?
Correct.
So we need to vote between those two.
Commissioner Egan.
Connor Egan.
Commissioner Martin.
Connor Egan.
Commissioner McLean.
Connor Egan.
Commissioner Savoy.
Ted Pastula.
And Chairman Shackleton.
And I'll vote for Mr. Egan, or I'm sorry, Ted. However, Mr. Egan is appointed. Congratulations. We move to War Memorial Hospital appointment. The current member is Ted Pastula. And we have, in addition to his application, we have Kevin White, Bradley Ormsby, Ron Meister, Raymond Johnson, and Connor Egan, whose application was late. And I would ask for the clerk to call a vote.
Commissioner Egan.
Ron Meister.
Commissioner Martin.
Rudy Johnson.
Commissioner McLean.
Rudy Johnson.
Commissioner Savoy.
Ted Pastula.
And Chairman Shackleton.
I'll vote for Ted Pastula. So, let's see, do we have 2 votes for Mr. Pastula and 2 votes for Mr. Johnson?
Correct.
And I would ask you to run a vote again, please.
Commissioner Egan.
Raymond Johnson.
Commissioner Martin.
Raymond Johnson.
Commissioner McLean,
Raymond Johnson.
Commissioner Savoy,
Ted Postula.
And I'll vote for Mr. Pastula as well. So Mr. Johnson wins the vote there. We move then, that concludes it, actually. That concludes the board's votes.
Just point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
The War Memorial Hospital Board will have to approve that appointment of Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, we actually, the War Memorial Hospital appointment is really more of a nominating process from this board, and then the hospital board it takes action on whether to, on the nomination is a more accurate way to look at that.
Chairman?
Yes?
If,
Go ahead.
if the hospital board doesn't accept our recommendation, then it would come back and we would start the process over again.
That's the way I understand it.
Okay, just so we are clear on that.
Yeah, they would ask for another nominee, is the way I understand it. We move to the chairman's appointments, and I'll go through these rather quickly. The Board of Public Works, all commissioners serves on. Community Action Agency, Commissioner Egan and Commissioner McLean. The City County Liaison Committee would be Commissioner Martin and myself. County Township Liaison Committee are county township commissioners, including Commissioner McLean, Mr. Egan, and Mr. Savoy. Our Department of Veterans Affairs Liaison, Commissioner Savoy. Prison Liaison, Don McLean and Jim German. Our Upward Talent Council, EUP Michigan Works, Don McLean, with alternate being Jim Martin. Chippewa County Recycling Committee, myself, Mr. German, and Commissioner Jim Martin. Regional Planning and Development, Don McLean. I don't have a second name for Regional Planning and Development. Do we need two on there? Anybody else want to be on Regional Planning and Development?
It's a good group.
that's as the alternate,
Sorry?
that's the, as an alternate,
Oh, the next position is alternate.
yes.
Okay.
I'll do it if it's an alternate.
All right, Connor, I'm gonna put you on that, and then underneath, I was also gonna appoint you to the EUP Regional Trails Consortium Representative, Connor Egan. Central Dispatch Board of Directors, Commissioner Savoy and County Administrator Jim German will be on that. UPCAP Commissioner Don McLean. UPRC&D, that involves travel and time, and I think we could have Administrator German fill that position. Emergency Food and Shelter National Board Program, Jim Martin. County Commission Committees, for Finance, Chairman Martin, Vice Chair Commissioner McLean. Building Grounds, and that's the only one that we have a Vice Chair that we name to for Finance. The others, we don't name a Vice Chair. Building Grounds, Jail, Legislative, Natural Resources, Information Technology, Chairman Savoy. Personnel, Equalization, Apportionment, Transportation, Health and Social Services, Chairman Connor Egan. That concludes that.
I think you need to appoint the other members of the commission to the last two, building and
You just
grounds
said the
and
chairs.
personnel. You just mentioned the chair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. Building Grounds, Jail, Legislative, Natural Resources. I was putting on Mr. McLean and Mr. Martin. And Personnel, Equalization, Apportionment, Transportation, Health and Social Services, myself, and Commissioner Savoy. Thank you for pointing that out. Those would have been lonely boards. You would have only had a chairman. We move to meeting schedule, times, and holiday schedule?
Commissioner
Yes.
Shackleton,
Mhm.
Chair Shackleton. On the Upward Talent, that meeting now with the takeover is at noon in Escanaba on Fridays. And obviously with teaching, that's, because we ran into that
Yeah.
issue when Don was sick, and I know that German went in my stead because, you know, but I have about 36 hours notice. I don't know if anybody else wants to do that, or we want to, I mean, if, you know, that meeting is when we have a break or something like that, if we're
Yeah.
meeting out there. I don't know if there's another commissioner who wants to go if Commissioner McLean can't go.
Yeah, that's a tough one because it does require some travel, and it's a regular out-of-town meeting. The position we're talking about is the alternate. We did check to see if we could name our administrator that position, and they said no, it has to be a commissioner. So I don't know at this point if there's anybody who can commit to that time and travel for the alternate position.
If it's just an alternate, I can do it, but only if it's just an alternate and only as needed,
Right.
which I'm sure Commissioner McLean will.
Okay, then I will revisit the board and committee appointments and change the alternate position of Upward Talent Council to Commissioner Egan. We go to meeting schedule and times, holiday schedule. We have a suggested holiday, well, let's do the holiday schedule first. And let me find that, what page is that? 95. Okay, 96, let's do that one first. The holiday schedule is pretty straightforward. Many of these are included in collective bargaining agreements and is certainly consistent with the holiday schedule in the past. And
I move we accept it as presented.
motion made and supported that we accept the 2017 Chippewa County holiday schedule. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. In fact, that included today, apparently, that today is observed as New Year's Day. We move to the Commissioners Board meeting schedule. This is for finance claims and our regular board. This is what's before you is a suggested schedule similar to what we did a couple years ago, where we stayed on Mondays and Thursdays. We did meetings in the summer at 2 p.m. instead of 5:30. We did not start the 2 p.m. until after June 8th, recognizing that school is still in session.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We go to County Bylaws and Rule of Procedure, page 97. This is bylaws and rules of procedure. Again, this is something that can be revisited at any time during the year, but we do need to approve it at least once at the beginning of the term. This is just setting down the basic policies and rules by which the county board operates.
I'd move the acceptance of the county bylaws and rules of procedure.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported that we accept and reapprove County Board Policy 101, bylaws, rules of procedure. Is there discussion? Commissioner Martin.
I did have one because we ran into this 2 months ago when we were dealing with the animal control issue. And you didn't want to set a precedent by allowing her to speak when public comment already happened. But if you look at 104, at Article 7, Section 1, you actually could have called on her and let her discuss since it was her department.
Your department head, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I had no idea.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you're running the meeting that you make the best decision that
Well, you were
you
trying to
could
be
try to,
fair
yeah,
because
yeah.
some other
Yeah.
people had their time and you denied them, but this is that exception for that person in the
Right.
department.
Yep.
Just so, should that happen?
I guess what I've tried to do is prevent the county board meetings from becoming a kind of a free-for-all town hall, that could go on for hours, and try to accomplish more of that sort of discussion at the committee level has been my intent as we move along, but thank you for pointing that out. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Where are we now? MDOC and Chippewa County Memorandum of Understanding. This is item M, page 108. And
I would so move.
it's straightforward stuff here.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we approve the memorandum of understanding on that very worthwhile program. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Martin?
Go ahead.
I have served on the prison liaison committee, and this is a program where they take dogs from the shelter, assign them to various prisoners, and they train them right in the prison. And it's been an extremely successful program, and the prisoners actually vie for the opportunity to work with the dogs. It's been worked well for the prisoners in the prison, and also for the animal control shelter and the animal, because they become more adoptable because they're trained.
Is it true that it reduces the recidivism rate as well? I've heard that,
I've never seen statistics on that, but this runs concurrent with another program. This is done in one of the prisons, I can't remember which one, but the other prison actually trains service dogs that are specially bred for seeing eye dogs and various things. They sniff out after they run them through the program here. They take them for special training, of course, somewhere else. But they range from drug sniffing dogs to they trained a couple to be bed bug sniffing dogs. Just interesting programs that are very well thought of in the program and are very successful.
Commissioner Martin?
Where are we at in the liability issue? What if one of these dogs bites one of the prisoners? Because we live unfortunately in a society. Where are we at on that?
I don't know, is that specifically covered in the memorandum or not?
I think it's a great program, but
I'd be
Would you-
more worried about the
Yeah,
prisoner
biting
biting
the
the
dog.
dog.
Would you be comfortable with us just coming back with the answer on
Yeah,
that
oh yeah,
specific
absolutely.
question? All right, so maybe Kelly can look into that for us and we'll
It's probably under MDOC liability, but we can check.
we'll get you a specific answer for that. All in favor of the motion, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Approve renewal of medical director's malpractice coverage. This is another health department issue where the malpractice insurance has to be renewed. It is on page 112.
I'd move approval, renewal of the medical director's malpractice coverage.
Support?
Motion made and supported that we approve that. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We have DS Tech Master Service Agreement. This is Health Department related on page 113. This is licensing and service agreement that it has to be done annually. In the future, this will probably be grouped along with all the ones we do for the county. You have licenses with Microsoft and all those things that you have to renew on a regular basis. So is there motion?
I'll make a motion.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Is there discussion on it?
I had one question. I was going through the bylaws of the health department, and it says that everything is supposed to be encrypted as far as disk and stuff. And then I went to 117 in this packet, and disk encryption is not checked. And I'm wondering if that would be something that maybe the administrator want to look into to make sure that we're compliant with the law and to decrease liability. That maybe disk encryption, if it's suitable in this case, 'cause I'm not an IT guy, if that's something that we should have checked there, as they say, CYA. If
Okay.
one of those devices falls in somebody's hands, and maybe not, maybe something we don't need, maybe it's covered somewhere else in the
I would
department.
guess that we don't need just anymore, it's all in the cloud.
Oh,
I will check, but.
Okay.
I imagine,
Go ahead.
current IT, guru, it handles it. I don't think he would make himself open that much.
Well, but you can give us a specific answer to that question as well, right? So we have a motion on the floor. All in favor, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to commissioners' comments, which is item number 10. Commissioner McLean?
Just want to mention again the difficulty we've had with operating with 5 commissioners instead of 7 and the problems that's created. And the other thing is that when we make changes as were made here today, and I have voted for the changes, that I believe that if time allows, there shouldn't be a time constraint on that, but it would be best handled in a workshop where all the commissioners could be part of the discussion.
Okay.
I have a comment. I plan on resigning from Hiawatha Behavioral Health due to time constraints and some other issues, so that is something that county probably needs to prepare for. I plan on attending their January meeting, and this will take effect in February.
Okay. So if you're amenable to it, we'll accept that as a resignation effective February 1st, and we can begin the process of refilling that position.
I'd like to add that I would like to see another commissioner join that board. I think it's a board that would benefit from a commissioner's guiding hand, and also
Okay.
the information flow back to the commission.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I'd
Commissioner
like to
Savoy?
make it clear, there's been a lot of feedback to me that I'm against the health department. I want to make it very clear I am not. They are a very important service to our community. It's my intentions, if we can get their finances on track, same as all the other departments, we get them on track. Hopefully, we can give every employee a raise in this county, including the health department, just like that on record.
Commissioner Martin?
I had got a flyer, and as long as we were on medical examiner, this would get us in line if it pleases the commission. The gift of life, organ transplant, getting your medical examiner involved in that, if you'll notice here, we're one of like 6 counties in the whole state. And there is possibly some legal ramifications. I read through this. I talked to Kelly about it last week. But it's a shame when organ donations can save lives, and our ME is not on board, not through any fault of their own. It's just it's something we have to do at the county level. And like I said, in reading through this, I'm like, maybe we're in violation of this. But I just think it's something that we need to take a look at with our medical examiner and our county administrator, and make sure that we can participate in this. It looks to be, as near as I can tell, no cost to the county, but it would have to be further examined. But I just, if we can help save a life, even one, it's certainly something we should do. And obviously, we want to make sure we're compliant. So I'm gonna keep one, let Jim and Kelly take it. And same thing too for the health department, the employees, and I have many that are friends and many I respect, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. This isn't a result of them. This is a result of I don't know. It's not the employees. The employees are phenomenal, and I mean, especially with Shack and everything else, they care about people. They care about our people, and I don't want to throw them under the bus because finances have not been handled appropriately by whomever, whenever, and wherever. I don't think this is something that's just popped up in the last 18 months. We've just found out about it, and we're going to take the bull by the horn and go from there. But
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Anyone else? I'd just like to say that the meeting that we have every year that makes appointments to boards and committees is probably one of the toughest meetings we have. The reason why is you're voting on people, good people in our community who are willing to serve. And it's hard because you wanna give everybody a position who wants to serve, but it's not possible. But we are very fortunate that we have a lot of people who are willing to serve, and wisdom and caring about your community does not begin and end with the county board. It is the people in our community who are serving on all these boards in various capacities that care about our community, and we're very fortunate to have all of them who are willing to. So I want to thank everybody who is willing to serve in those positions. You're serving your community, and on their behalf, thank you. With that would conclude our January meeting, and I wish everybody a Happy New Year. Can I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.